Welcome to HGC Construction's Project Safety Orientation for the Three Oaks development. Thank you for your attention to the following safety instructions and procedures for this job site. If emergency medical attention is needed, call 911 immediately. Never attempt to move an employee who has fallen from a height or become unconscious. After calling 911, contact HGC management. Air horns will be used to indicate a site emergency. In the event you hear an air horn with 3 short blasts repeated 3 times, stop work immediately and move to the designated rally point for further instructions. Subcontractors are responsible for accounting for their subs. On-site personnel shall have the following training and provide HGC staff with proof of training. All supervisors and foremen must have their OSHA 30-hour certification. All other personnel on site must have their OSHA 10 certification. In addition, proof of equipment-specific and competent person certification and any other pertinent training must be provided upon the request of HGC Construction. All contractors and sub-tier subcontractors are required to conduct and attend a weekly Toolbox Talk meeting. Meeting topics and signatures of attendance shall be submitted to HGC Construction. Subcontractors are responsible for collecting and turning in their sub-tier contractor paperwork. All contractors are to review a daily job hazard analysis prior to work activities and submit a copy to HGC Construction. Pre-task planning with HGC Construction is required prior to beginning any scope of work. For example, crane operations, concrete operations, excavation and trenching, roofing, and steel erection. Subcontractors are responsible for making sure their sub-tier contractors are completing and turning in this paperwork. A hot work permit is required for any operation involving open flames or producing heat and/or sparks. This includes, but is not limited to, brazing, cutting, grinding, soldering, and torch-applied roofing. The job site portable fire extinguishers supplied by HGC are not to be used for hot work or moved from the designated locations. Hot work permits must be completed and submitted to the site superintendent prior to commencing any hot work activities. Hot work requires a 30-minute fire watch in the immediate area after hot work activities are completed each day. An additional 30-minute surveillance of the surrounding areas is also required to ensure that adjacent areas from the hot work are not a risk of fire potential. Each subcontractor is responsible for performing fire watch activities for their work. Each contractor shall maintain on-site safety data sheets for all hazardous chemicals or materials brought onto the site and be available upon request. Safety data sheets must be incorporated into the daily JSA. All secondary containers must be labeled appropriately. HGC construction and project sites are 100% drug-free in accordance with the Ohio BWC DFW program. Tobacco use is not permitted inside the building. This policy also applies to vaping, e-cigs, etc. This is a zero-tolerance policy. The first offense will result in removal from the project the rest of that day. The second offense will result in permanent removal. Soil contamination conditions have been assessed by the environmental consultant CEC Incorporated. Soil remediation during site development has been performed. There may be areas where soil contamination exists below 4 feet in some areas of the property. Signs of contaminated soil, as seen in the photos, will have a distinct black or gray color as well as potential unusual odors. If any suspect soils are encountered, work shall stop immediately. Notify the HGC superintendent immediately for further guidance. CEC Incorporated has been retained by the client to provide soil monitoring, analysis, and guidance when impacted soils are encountered. All workers and visitors to the site are required to wear Type 2 hard hats with chin straps and safety glasses. If prescription safety glasses are not equipped with side shields, then goggles or side shields are required. When going from exterior work to interior work, dark safety glasses shall be switched out with clear indoor safety glasses. Site workers must wear puncture and slip-resistant work boots. Shoes are not acceptable, including shoes with a safety toe. For example, tennis shoes. Site workers must wear full-length pants and minimum 4-inch sleeves on shirts. Radios are not permitted to be used on the project. Radios can inhibit the ability to hear emergency notifications or important communications. The speed limit on the project is 10 miles per hour. Factors that greatly affect the degree of stress from weather conditions on an individual are overall physical health of workers, humidity or wind chill depending on the season, the work task, hydration, PPE, and the duration of time exposed to extreme high or low temperatures. HGC supervision will provide additional preventative measures and actions to take during extreme temperature conditions. HGC construction must be notified immediately after any type of incident or near miss that takes place on the project, including property damage. The subcontractor needs to submit their report to HGC, including an accident investigation, within 24 hours. Subcontractors are responsible for their tiered subs and delivery personnel. In case of a serious job site accident or incident, do not touch anything. Barricade the scene and prevent entry until further notice from HGC. And obtain witness statements, take photographs, and document all pertinent information to help determine the root cause and potential corrective actions. The emergency evacuation meeting location is posted in the emergency action plan and on the next slide. Subcontractors are responsible to account for their subs. On this map of the site, note the safety rally point outlined in red at the bottom next to the HGC construction office trailer. In the event of a fire, call 911 immediately. Notify everyone in the immediate area to evacuate and conduct attendance for accountability for all personnel. Meet emergency service personnel at the site entrance and direct them to the scene. Report the incident with proper paperwork and obtain witness statements. Many struck-by hazards exist on a construction site. This is one of the OSHA Focus 4 hazards that are related to serious injury and death. In any location where a worker can be exposed to crushing hazards as a result of delivery trucks backing into loading or unloading areas, spotters are required. All equipment shall have backup alarms installed and operational. Fall protection is required 100% of the time at or above 6 feet. Ensure personal fall protection equipment, guardrails, barricades, etc. are utilized at all situations in which a worker can fall from heights of 6 feet or greater or working over dangerous equipment or situations. Additional fall protection may be required at the request of HGC construction. Deviations from conventional methods shall be communicated through the HGC superintendent. The use of roof monitors, as mentioned in the OSHA 1926 Subpart M Fall Protection Standard, are not permitted on HGC projects. Open holes larger than 2 inches shall be covered, secured, and labeled. A lanyard or rope grab is not permitted to be tied back to itself and is considered an improper tie-off connection. Plastic fuel containers are not permitted on job sites. Minimize and store flammable liquids as required. Flammable liquids in excess of 25 gallons total cannot be stored together in a single location. Bulk fuel storage tanks require a dedicated fire extinguisher within 50 feet, but not closer than 5 feet of the storage tank. Spill kits are required for prompt cleanup of overspills. All rebar, ground pins, or like materials that are potential impalement or cut or laceration hazards shall be protected to prevent such injuries. Portable GFCIs must be used on all extension cords and power tools. If GFCI breakers or outlets are installed, then portable GFCIs are not required. Inspect all cords, including extension cords, power tools, and stationary equipment. Extension cords crossing doorways and paths of travel and must be covered with a floor mat or tape. This could help in preventing slip-trip hazards. Maintain power tools on a regular basis. Inspect before use and select the right tool for the job. Operate power tools according to the manufacturer's instructions. If required, power tools must be fitted with guards and safety switches. Power-actuated tools require certification to use. Material handling and personnel equipment shall only be operated by qualified personnel. Proof of qualification must be shown upon request. Any personnel using mobile equipment shall conduct and document a daily inspection form for each piece of equipment, which also must be provided upon request. All crane-related work requires the subcontractor to submit a lift plan to the project superintendent prior to performing any lifts. The following are required: annual crane inspections, daily crane inspections, operator certification, and barricading of the swing radius of the crane. No overhead crane work is permitted when wind speeds reach 25 miles per hour sustained or 35 mile per hour gusts. The crane operator has ultimate authority to stop activities at speeds lower than those stated above. Riggers and signal personnel require proof of rigger and signal training. A competent person for excavations shall be on site for each trade working in a trench. Inspections will be conducted, documented, and available upon request. Ensure all utilities are specifically marked and noted prior to commencing work. At no time shall a worker enter a trench that is 5 feet or greater without an appropriate protective system in place. Trenches 4 feet or greater in depth shall be provided with a ladder for every 25 feet of travel for egress. Evacuation shall be barricaded when unattended and at the end of the work shift. All scaffolds shall be erected under the supervision of a competent person and inspected daily with those inspections documented and then tagged. They will be planked at the working levels with a top rail, mid-rail, and toe board. All Perry Baker scaffolds shall have the outriggers installed when additional sections are stacked above the initial base section. Guardrails are required above 6 feet in elevation. Extension ladders must be secured at the top and the bottom. If using on dirt or soft soil, flip the ladder feet up to use the pointed feet designed for soil. Users may also use a sheet of plywood or similar material to distribute the load, weather permitting. If rain, ice, or snow is on the ground, then plywood might not be the best choice. Stepladder users are to not use the top of the stepladder as a seat or step. The second step from the top rung is not a step. Folded stepladders are not allowed in any situation. Aluminum ladders are not permitted to be used on any HGC project. Respirators must be used when required by the safety data sheet for chemicals and products or OSHA standards. Contractors are required to clean their work area daily, which includes placing trash and construction debris into the proper waste containers. The job site and surrounding area cleanliness is to be maintained at all times. Contractors are responsible for preventing slips, trips, fall hazards associated with their work area, including any hazards they may have created. All deliveries are to be scheduled with HGC management. Subcontractors coordinating deliveries shall ensure the personnel adhere to all safety requirements while on site. Proper spotters or flaggers shall be utilized as a safety precaution. Failure to follow and abide by the project safety guidelines could result in the following disciplinary action. First violation, verbal warning. Second violation, written notice with a copy sent to the employer. Third violation, permanent suspension from the job site. Gross disregard for project safety will result in immediate and permanent removal from the project site. All subcontractors are bound and subject to these rules as agreed upon in the HGC Construction Management Agreement. Subcontractors are responsible for their sub-tier contractors' disciplinary action. This project safety orientation is only a brief overview of the safety requirements and procedures. All employees and contractors are responsible to adhere to all OSHA construction standards, the Subcontractor Safety Management Agreement, and the individual's company health and safety program. This concludes the project safety orientation. Thank you for your attention, and please ask the site superintendent if you have any questions. The following documents are required to be submitted to HGC supervision: daily job safety analysis, daily hot work permits when needed, weekly equipment inspections when needed. This includes the call before you dig permit number, depending on the state you are working in, daily excavation or trench inspections when needed, and weekly safety toolbox topics.